Matvei Michkov had some interesting things to say about John Tortorella. And it was a Russian language interview. No, I did not go and learn Russian in the past year. But Michkov had some really interesting things to say. And he talked about Tortorella and Tortorella's impact on his career. And I think that, listen, we had the understanding from the limited availability that there was around Michkov that the guy has legitimate killer instinct, has the desire to be great, has the desire to be better than anyone else on the ice, will bust his ass to win every game, even in games where his team just simply is not good enough to get it done. He is going to be a heart and soul kind of player for this team. And if all goes well, he could very likely go down as one of the best Flyers in a generation to wear the orange and black. And none of that is really hyperbolic. He just put together a hell of a season that in many other seasons probably would have won him the Calder. He won't win it this year. But Michkov has been everything and more than advertised. And stands to reason could be even better next season. Entering a season at age 20, entering his second season in North America. But he will do it with a different head coach, unless the Flyers bring back Brad Shaw. Now, there were some interesting things that stood out from his interview about Tortorella. One of the things that he said, and this is Michkov telling, who was the person who conducted the interview? We're going to be fair here. So it was Nikita Filatov and Andrei Arshavin. So he does this interview in Russian, and Michkov says, quote, "When I was on my way here, Russian guys told me that he dislikes Russians and that he is a tough coach in general." And then he said, "When I arrived, he," meaning Tortorella, "always treated me with respect, and we found a mutual understanding. He tells you exactly what he thinks of you. If you're shit, he'll tell you you're shit. Some people don't like the hard truth, but he's a person who says what he thinks." We had heard prior to Michkov coming over that Michkov is kind of like a no-nonsense guy and that he's somebody who doesn't mind being coached hard. And that Michkov kind of turned some heads when he was playing in Russia as being a guy who spoke up for himself and spoke up in the locker room, maybe more than a lot of veteran players were used to seeing a young guy do. So we view that largely as a positive. Here you have the confirmation that the coach coached him hard, but he appreciated the straightforward nature of the communication. Okay. He continues, "Sitting here thinking about being benched, it seems to me that I benefited from it. When I come back to the bench, I'm a very hot-headed person." We had heard that before. "And he's the same. Of course, when we were both riled up, it was difficult to find a common language, and we had a few misunderstandings." Okay. And then he said that he would say that they didn't really have conflicts. He said that when we would come back into the locker room, if he was wrong, he would say he was sorry and shouldn't have said some things. I would tell him I was sorry too and was wrong and riled up. I wanted to win, score, get assists on every shift. He said he understood me, that he liked people with big hearts who are passionate about the game. I liked him very much. So those were some of Michkov's comments. There was another one in here. Also noted that he thinks Tortorella is one of his best coaches. Said, of course, there were some unpleasant moments where he benched me and I didn't play, or I played 9 minutes. I sat there thinking, why is he here? Why is he benching me when I can score, I can pass? Then I got on the ice again, cooled off, and everything was fine. And then he said, that's why I was very upset when he was fired. I didn't want him to get fired. I wanted to work with him a bit more, at least until the end of the season. As you know, when a coach is fired, the team starts to play differently. So those were many of the comments that Michkov had about Tortorella. Now, does that change the overall thoughts on Tortorella? Does that change the thoughts on Tortorella's tenure? Not necessarily. In fairness, a player's not going to bury the coach on the way out. A 20-year-old who just wrapped up his first season in the NHL isn't going to bury the coach. And he might have actually enjoyed playing for Tortorella to some extent. If you are a player who does like straightforward communication, the one thing that you have to say about Tortorella, whether you're a huge fan of him or you are a huge detractor, is that you never have to wonder how John Tortorella feels about a player in any given moment. So if you're a player who's willing and able to accept that criticism and take that criticism and meet it head on, like Michkov appears to be, you're probably fine with the guy. And if not, then you're probably not. Now, again, does it change the view of how things went here, especially in the final season, especially in the final month or the final weeks? No, it doesn't change it at all. While one player, Michkov, might have enjoyed playing for Tortorella or have enjoyed that communication, based on what we have heard and based on some of the things that came out around Tortorella's firing, there were players on the team who did not feel that way. And in fairness, Michkov was not here last year to go through the benching of Sean Couturier. Would Michkov, had he been over here at age 17 going on 18, right? Because he was he was 19 going on. If he had come over here at age 18, turning 19 as a rookie, and watched his captain get benched the way that Couturier did the year before, would he have felt the same way? Hard to say. So if you weren't around for a thing that definitely caused a legitimate chasm between the coach and the locker room, it might be easier to look at the vacuum of this one season and say, no, I like how I was coached. I reacted well to it. I didn't like it in the moment. He's a hothead. I'm a hothead. We could talk it out. If you weren't here for the part that really caused a very big issue within that locker room, maybe it's easier to kind of look at it that way. But for the players who were here through the Couturier benching last year, I don't think there was any way to kind of reconcile things and make them better. Let's see. Tony Louis says, Michkov said the same thing in his exit interview. He said it was very good to play with a coach with that much experience, and I learned a lot from him. Paraphrasing. But that he was a good resource. Note that he said that he would have liked to have finished out the season with the coach, which is fine. Listen, Tortorella, whether you like him or not, is still a good coach and can still get a lot out of guys. And in fairness, that's part of the problem from a year ago, is that he got too much out of a team that really wasn't that talented, and it prevented them from picking somebody that maybe had higher upside. Now, Jet Lashenko might still prove to be a very good player. Is he going to be a Zeev who's getting playoff minutes, playing on the blue line for Minnesota? No. But could Lashenko end up being something special? Maybe. Will we ever know? No, we won't. We won't ever know what the Flyers could have done if they had maybe picked higher and had the opportunity to get a guy like Ivan Demidov. I don't know. Never going to let that one go.